All right, everybody, welcome here inside the den, a new edition of Dry Heat with Mike Davis. Listen, we all know content creators, we know influencers, we know all these types of people, but my guest today, this could be the hottest Dry Heat we've ever had, because my guest today, he's the OG influencer. This is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. We have in the den for Dry Heat, Mr. Perez Hilton. Perez Hilton, great to have you here. How are you doing, my friend?
I am grateful, and I feel lighter now that I'm back in the gym and I'm focusing on my health again. You know, I recently was chatting with a friend, and actually I love that this is a bit of a longer form conversation, so I can share, this is what I was talking with a friend about. I've been doing what I do now for 21 years, even before the word influencer existed.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they used to call me web celeb, and I kind of like that. It's cheeky, it's playful, but I still love what I do.
Yeah.
Because I compare what I do to that of a professional surfer. If you love the sport, if you love the waves, if you love the ocean, you'll go out there every single day and you'll love it. Obviously, it's more exciting if you have big waves. But on days where you have little or no waves, you still go out there and you still enjoy it. And I still do. And also, kind of like the wave analogy.
Yeah.
I think that most of us are programmed when we're young. At some age, for me, it was probably 14 or 15. And then we spend our adult lives trying to unlearn and reprogram. So recently I had a lot of stress in my life.
Right.
And even though I can intellectualize, you should not be stress eating. You should put that down. Thank God it's not drugs or alcohol. For me, it's food and soothing myself with that. But then it's like, life is like the ocean. Like, you repeat the same mistakes. The tide comes and it goes, and it's like these cycles and the moon. And it's like, I wish that I could connect the brain telling me you don't need to eat right now. You're not hungry, but I still do it anyways.
I think you've done. Of course, you're alluding to the lawsuit. With
I didn't get sued.
Well,
thankfully,
you didn't get sued,
but I was part of this bigger lawsuit.
Part
Blake
of
Lively.
the discovery. Yes.
Yeah,
we all know it ends with us, Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, through some of her discovery that she had done in her defamation lawsuit, sexual harassment lawsuit against Baldoni. You came in discovery with that, but you had the ACLU support you. You supported yourself, like an Elle Woods kind of thing. We'll get through all that kind of stuff, but. Back to the surfing, and why I think I respect you for a lot of reasons, but why I really respect you is because, listen, growing up, born to Cuban parents, your name's Mario, go to an all-Catholic boys' high school, a prep school, you go to NYU on a scholarship, and you have this trajectory where a lot of things are happening for you. You're at an Instinct magazine, a gay magazine, you're Star magazine, you're doing a lot of different stuff where the traditional path, much like myself that I'm on, was open to you because you're a smart guy, you're with it, you're a hard worker and all these things, but you are likening this whole thing, your career, to surfing. But the blog that launched in 2004, before there was a TMZ, before there were a lot of these things, it was just for fun. So it was like surfing, and it was like you just caught a wave. And I find it so impressive that all these years later, you're still riding this wave.
Well, it also goes back to, mentioning my Cuban parents, being the son of immigrants. It was instilled in me since I could think the importance of not just hard work, but working harder than everyone else. And when I started in 2004, not only did the word influencer not exist, but nobody had done what I ended up doing before me. So there was no blueprint. Like now, like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, like I birthed them. Or somebody like Candace Owens even, the provocateur, like that role. Yes. But also the commentator, I birthed her. And I'm not saying I agree with her stances. I'm just saying the archetype of who she is and what she does and the impact that she has, that was me first.
And it's almost full circle with this whole legal dispute that had been going on with you and Blake Lively, because there had been instances in the past, there have been rifts you've had with the Ariana Grandes and the Lady Gagas and a lot of them. So it's fascinating because you definitely have evolved as a human, and we see a different side of you, but you really were a marketing genius, because that's how I feel about you, because your take was, I'm going to give an outsider's look on celebrity gossip and news. It used to kind of be, you'd go into the Page Six, or you'd see like these celebrity columns in Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, and it was kind of like a person who was in the know, who thought they were a celebrity themselves, reporting on tips and tidbits that they would get from sources, and they kind of were a celeb in their own right. That was just the MO of a lot of these people, where you were counterculture. You were like a guy who the average Joe could say, I like this guy. I resonate with this guy. He is on my team reporting against these celebrities. So it was very purposeful, right?
Well, and also back to surfing for a minute, which actually...
Are you a surfer?
I'm not even a surfer.
Have you ever surfed in your life?
Never.
It's a funny analogy.
But I also helped. I would never take credit for it, but I played a part, a big part, in changing how people consume media and their expectations.
Yeah.
Going back to surfing, like, what I loved and still love about my job are those days that we do have big waves where I'll break a story and then a follow-up, then another follow-up, then another. Like, I could go days with, whatever the big story was at the time. This week, or whenever you're watching, recently it happened to be Taylor Swift, like a lot of Taylor Swift. But that's not the best analogy, because it's talking about her album and her boyfriend. But, like a perfect example, even very early on, I was the first outlet to report about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie officially being a couple. I actually nicknamed them Brangelina.
You did?
I did. And I found out about it because things were so different back in May of 2005. I got wind from a friend who was an editor at a celebrity magazine in the UK that these pictures of Brad and Angelina as a couple, they're coming out, their public debut, were being auctioned. And things were so different back then. The celebrity photo agencies, the paparazzi,
right,
they would sell the rights market by market. Now, if you have a huge exclusive, you might just have somebody buy the global rights.
Right.
Because once it's on the internet.
You do like a first look of a wedding and people just buys the rights to those
but
photos.
back then it was like people here and this magazine there and that outlet there. Now it's oftentimes just the global rights, because if you put it on social media and you put it on the internet, another outlet's not going to want to pay for it as much. So, oh my God, Brad and Angelina in Africa. So I wrote the story before anybody else, because my friend just leaked me that information. And then his magazine lost the bid. It went to another magazine in the UK. So this is back during my enfant terrible phase, my wild child days, where, 2004 was not just the infancy of social media and the internet, but it was also the wild, wild west. Like, there were no rules. And if there were, I wasn't aware of them.
Right. Even the Britney Spears thing, you posted some unreleased songs, or like
I got sued for that.
Right. So, but it was hard because it really was the wild west. Nobody knew. This is back in the days where every kid was downloading LimeWire.
Yeah,
songs,
exactly.
So it's not like you were doing anything that crazy. Everybody was figuring it out.
Yeah, and I ended up becoming a big boy without ever intending to, because I didn't think that was a possibility. And when you become a big boy, you have to play by big boy rules.
Well, and I have a lot of questions about that, because you have evolved a lot. And I have so many questions. Part of this whole discovery lawsuit with Blake Lively is she was saying you're not a journalist, and I thought you had a lot of poignant responses to that. One on Nevada Week, you did a great job, I thought, on that show discussing it. So I think you absolutely are correct in your definition, and I don't think anybody should think about that in a different light. This whole Nevada Shield law that is all about protecting your sources, that's kind of where this whole issue came about. But I want to know, and you're an honest guy, back in, I don't know how you said that phrase, your terrible, crazy years. Did you think of yourself as a journalist back then?
Yeah.
You did. You always felt that because,
yeah.
Okay.
Because I was breaking exclusives. I was, reporting on celebrities and reporting on stories and having information that you couldn't find anywhere else, and it all began so organically.
But you weren't a guy. I mean, listen, you were doing some acting. We have to talk a little bit about The Sopranos and Christopher Moltisanti robbing you at the high school concert benefit. I always love that. But to me, it's interesting because you weren't the guy who was just working at McDonald's and had no access, and now there's this ability to go on, and you don't need the New York Post headline for you to break news. You had everything at your own fingertips, but at the same time, you were doing the pedigree stuff. You had the education. You're in these newsrooms. So why did you not think to maybe go more traditional during those times with all this information where you could have had the legal support, the insurance, all these backings that could have really helped you and propelled your career where you could have been the next hotshot, reporter without having to do it all by yourself? Why do you think you did that?
Because I was crazy.
Did your Cuban parent, they never said to you, listen, you're already at Star Magazine, just use the things that you would post by yourself on your own and give it to the editor that you have there.
The good thing is, the older I've gotten, the less crazy I've been. But when I was young, I didn't care about this or that. Like, I just cared about being happy. And to that point, there was a job that I started after I began blogging, working at this celebrity magazine, Star, and I just hated it because I actually love pop culture. In a way, it saved me after my dad died in the 90s. I didn't go to therapy. I wish, but my mom didn't think of that. And actually, it's not really, or it wasn't, and maybe it still isn't a very Latino thing to go talk about your feelings in therapy. Maybe if you're second or third generation, but my mother was born and raised in Cuba. And I remember having this one conversation while I was really depressed working at Star because they were having me follow these celebrities and stalk them, and I sucked at it. I just didn't like it. I called my mom up and she's like, well, my son, that's why they call it work. They don't call it happy. And I said, well, I don't want to spend the rest of my life working. I still work very hard. Yeah. But I still, like I said, one of the first things I said is all these years later, I still love what I do. I love creating. I love sharing. I love entertaining people. Yeah. And I get to do that all in many different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a lot of guys like you, it's like being an athlete. It's like being a surfer in the sense that maybe the wave analogy I get, but it's also, you're trying to see how long, just like an actor, you want to see how long the train is going to keep going, Well,
and I don't call it a train. Unfortunately, I do feel like I'm a hamster on a hamster wheel, and I don't want to keep this up forever. Like, I envision my next era. I love what I do, so I think I'll always be talking about celebrities.
But to stay relevant, it's hard.
I don't want to stay relevant. No, it is hard. No. I don't want to stay relevant. If I have FU money, which I don't. That's what keeps me on the hamster wheel. Like, I have three kids and my mother that I also support financially. And I wasted millions upon millions of dollars in lawyer fees and payouts and settlements because I made all these mistakes. Like, I posted the photos of Brad and Angelina on the beach in Africa after my friend from the UK magazine leaked them to me because his magazine didn't get it. I got sued by that paparazzi agency and I had to pay them a ton of money eventually. So I fantasize about my next era, which is doing the celeb thing part-time because I still love it and I still want to have a hand in it, but I want to be traveling the world and be a travel content creator.
Wow. So you really want to be like a Bourdain. You don't even want to be...
well, no, but not... I want to be me, but cool.
Doing a Bourdain kind of thing.
But not on television, just
your life. Yeah. How much money would you need for that? Like, what? I'm curious. Because I think you have a
Well,
lot of fans, you have a lot of followers.
No, I wouldn't need much in the future, but for now,
Yeah,
to
for you to
maintain.
say that I just, if I had.
But I
effing
can't
money,
retire now.
Right.
Is what I'm
But
saying.
how much money would that be? I don't even know what the figure.
To retire?
Yeah, what do you think that is for you? Because I think a lot of people watching or listening to this, they think Perez Hilton, a very successful guy, has got a lot of dough, right? I mean, that's what people probably.
I don't have FU money to retire. I think because I'm young, I'm 47. I think to retire, you need at least 100,000 per year. I think for the next.
That's what people say.
Yeah, so for the next however many years. So if I hope to live to be 87, that's 40 more years.
Yeah.
That's a lot in cash that I don't have that much in cash.
Right. Yeah. So your you have the podcast, you have the website, you have all these different handles. You do work ridiculously hard. I'm always curious when I'm seeing how much you're posting, how much the articles are cranking out. Like I was trying to do some research for this interview. It's hard to almost keep up with everything that's happening to you. I was trying to learn everything about the Baldoni, Lively situation and how you're a piece of that. Now I see there's a Kardashian situation.
Well, that's resolved, thankfully.
Okay, so, but I mean, it's by the hour.
Yeah.
Things are happening.
I'm
to you.
busy.
Do you write every article on your website?
No, I have a staff.
You have a
thankfully.
staff.
But every video I make, obviously,
Right.
and I'm making so many videos, and I'm the editorial director, and I'm writing some of the articles as well. But, I have this theory, which is if you're lucky enough to make it onto the A-list, you'll always be an A-lister. Like Julia Roberts. She's doing the rounds now because she's promoting this new movie. But when she's not promoting a movie, she lives a very quiet, normal life.
But that's very few people.
Correct. You have to be A-lister.
I don't even know if, is Ariana Grande A-lister?
Oh, absolutely.
Is she?
She will always be an A-lister.
Okay. See, I don't, there's a lot of.
She's one of the biggest pop stars and now is a bona fide box office star as well. So she'll always be an A-lister. But for me, I was able to, at one point in my career, achieve D-list status. And I'm clinging to D-list status. But to maintain D-list status, as the years keep racing forward, you have to work even harder because you're not an A-lister. So you have to be loud and getting attention and doing this and releasing that. And I do. That's why I've pivoted. I started a podcast forever ago. I've released books. I've done acting. I've done this. I do talking head commentary. I do acting, whatever it is to keep my name out there because, I don't have A-list relevancy, but at least I still have name recognition. And that takes work when you're on the D-list.
It's interesting, because I think you've done a really good job at just maintaining and sustaining. And I think that's such a critical thing. Do you think if you came, let's just say you were a Gen Zer and you were born today, or Gen Z era, whenever that is, would you have been bigger? Would you have been more successful, less
Probably. I think I would have been bigger because, and I think I was pretty big. I was in a Rihanna music video. Yeah. I was on an episode of Glee. I opened Britney's circus tour. Right. I co-hosted MTV's New Year's Eve 2 years in a row.
Right.
Back when people used to watch MTV and used to watch their New Year's Eve show. But when I began, that word influencer didn't exist. Nobody had done it before me. And there wasn't the cottage industry that now exists.
Yeah.
Now there are managers and agents that specialize in just representing influencers. And there are billions of dollars in that world, that are dedicated to social media and making deals.
Brand partnerships.
Yeah, none of that existed when I began.
So when you're doing these high level things, we're talking Glee. It's not when Netflix is around. This is when people are watching this stuff and there's not as many distractions. There's eyeballs aren't all over the place because everybody's really watching, New Year's Eve productions and stuff. What did it feel like? Give us a clue us into your life as a child at this. I have it written here, Bellin Jesuit Prep School. I'm curious. Who were you growing up? Because I think the one thing is this voice of yours is very interesting. When did the voice come? Because you have even when you just walk in the hallways here, it's like, oh, people are like Perez Hilton's. It's a very distinct, it's like a Barry White kind of, there's not too many people that have that kind of distinct voices. So what is your life like when you're at this Bellin, Jesuit preparatory school? And then what happens to your life when people start recognizing you're like a major celebrity?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say I'm a
D-list. Back then, but listen, everybody knew your name.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I'm so grateful. I'll toot my own horn. Like I'm past my it girl era, and I'm in my icon era, and icons are forever.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like when people start saying legend to a past athlete.
I wouldn't say I'm a legend, but
yeah, but and they start getting worked up. But I'm curious what that was
like. I do feel like I always was Perez, even before Perez existed.
Like, is it one of those things you're at the lockers and you're gossiping about another guy with another guy? Or
well, actually, the whole gossiping thing, I attribute a lot of that to being cultural, because in the Latino community, the word gossip, chisme, does not have the negative connotations that it does in English and in Anglo-America.
Yeah.
Latinos loved to chismear. They love it to be informed. And my mother was the biggest chismosa of them all. She knew everything about everybody.
Me as a coming up in Jewish culture, they call it a yenta.
Exactly. My mother was absolutely a yenta.
Right. And there's culture with the bodegas. I went to University of Miami. I understand the culture and how there's a fluidity and everybody knows everybody and things that are happening. So I get that. But I'm just saying, were you the informer and the person on the cusp of things in this all boys Jesuit school?
No, but I was always one to march to the beat of my own drum and play by my own rules, which would get me in trouble. You might have done this when you were in high school. There was a thing back in the day called forensics. Did you do forensics? No. It's kind of like speech and debate.
Okay.
And the International Thespian Society, I was a member of that. I was a member of the forensics team. And for forensics, you would perform these monologues. And I remember you'd dress up in a suit and you'd have a binder with your script, but you couldn't look at it. You had to have it memorized, but you have to hold the script. Anyways, that's my senior year of high school. I had performed this monologue in competition for forensics called Spider Rabbit by Michael McClure, something like that. It was called Spider Rabbit, and we had a talent show. Yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to do my monologue for the talent show. But I didn't tell the talent show director that I was going to, amp it up and have props and all of these things. Because during forensics, normally you don't use any props. You don't use costumes or anything. So I rented a bunny costume. I had makeup. I had props like intestines and things like that. It's like this demonic creature that I was doing my piece on. And the talent show teacher who was overseeing that told one of my friends who was working tech, get that off the stage right now. So, things like that. Or, one of my first jobs out of college was working at this gay nonprofit called GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. I was their publications manager. And I was always fascinated by pop culture and celebrities. And back when people used to read magazines, which they don't anymore, it's all digital. So many magazines have folded. I used to get subscriptions to everything. So I had a little cubicle at GLAAD and my office job, which I thought, I'm going to work for a gay nonprofit. It's going to be fun. My whole life has just been about chasing fun. And it ended up being very corporate. So I was like, what can I do to make this more fun? That's one of my mottos. If it's not fun, then make it fun. Mm-hmm. So I would cut out pictures from all the celebrity magazines that I would subscribe to, and I started putting them up all over my cubicle, to the point where every square inch of my cubicle was covered like a collage. And eventually I would start taking things down and putting it up, and it was like this living, breathing art piece, constantly rotating with celebrity pictures. And eventually after that, I got called into HR and said, you have to take that down. It's a distraction.
Wow.
Wah, wah.
And didn't your original blog kind of have didn't it have some of the cutout-y vibes to stuff, or no? Maybe.
No.
It didn't? Okay.
It was originally called page666.com. And I changed the name because I got sued by New York Post and Page 6.
And
I got sued a lot during my early days.
And tell us, because your name is Mario, tell the story of how Perez Hilton came to be, how that name developed.
Well, I got fired from Star Magazine because I sucked at that job. But actually, it was a blessing because I was there long enough, over 6 months, that I was able to collect unemployment. And after I was able to dedicate myself full time to my little blog, that's when things took off. So prior to Star, I was working for E! News, and I got fired from that job also because I had an encounter with Janice Dickinson. She was from America's Next Top Model. She came into the reception. I was doing a temp job, but a long-term temp job. I had been there for a few weeks, and she was just crazy. Like,
yeah, she's always been known as.
She created such a scene in the lobby. So I had started my blog by then, and I wrote about it. And the next day, this hot blonde guy from HR came and pulled me into his office, and he said, "Did you write this?" I was like, "Yeah, it has my name on it. You're fired." So
Gotcha.
I thought, you know what? Maybe for the time being, I should take my name off, and create this character. So I didn't show my face for a while, and then eventually, I got it's crazy. They're not even around anymore. This TV show reached out to me called The Insider. They were the companion show, the sister show to Entertainment Tonight.
Okay, yeah.
And they said, "Hey, we're doing this segment on Hollywood's most hated website." Most hated websites, plural. How would you feel if we include you on the list and if we name you number one? And I said, well, sure. I'd rather be number one than number two on that list. And I was like, well, I guess it's time to make myself public facing because this will help my little blog. It'll help get attention for it
and just Perez Hilton, because of Paris Hilton at that time.
Perez Hilton was
huge. With Nicole Richie.
And I love that the name instantly told you what it was all about. You know, the Perez is me. It's the outsider. It's the Latino. It's the gay. And Hilton is, the Hollywood showbiz. So it's my outsider's perspective on showbiz.
Right. It's so interesting. And then
but also outsider that's an insider, but it's still an outsider as well.
Exactly. So the how much of your look and all those things was thought through when you're at Glad, when you're at Star Magazine? Do you have the blonde crazy? I mean, you had a complete. A very that was all part of the character, correct?
After I began blogging, one of the things that has remained the same 21 years later, it's crazy to think, the speed at which you can achieve success on the internet and social media, and the speed at which information can travel. Within just months, I was a success, and that was crazy to me. So,
and there's pictures of you. I mean, suddenly you're not the person just reporting on it, but you're hobnobbing with Taylor Swift. You're in these exclusive situations, and you have this, your eye kind of just gravitated to you in pictures because you had such a weirdness. To be frank, about you.
I was aware of my role. I was the court jester.
Right.
So I made myself the clown by dyeing my hair all these crazy colors.
And how did that feel emotionally? Because I think you're so fit.
I wasn't back then.
I know, but that's why I'm saying now when I look at you and when I'm around you in social settings, you have such a peace to you now that's so different. And I didn't know you back then. But to me, when I look at pictures of you and I'm prepping for our interviews and stuff, it's sad to me.
Yeah.
Because I see like you're heavier. You have there's a lot of baggage I feel you're holding because it's it's hard to, it's a lot and we'll talk about this.
Well, it's also armor, right?
You remind me.
I'm insulating myself.
No, of course. So it was like a look, you're insulating yourself.
But I found I began my health journey, which is how I like to describe it, not losing, although there's nothing wrong with saying losing weight, but I began my health journey in 2008, and I found, cheesy as it might sound, that the healthier I became, the happier I became.
Right.
And even my thoughts started to change.
And you're not really allowed to say that nowadays because people don't like when, why couldn't you just be happy then? And I'm not trying to do body image stuff.
For me, that's my experience.
I'm just saying I think you know, it's not easy taking a lot of that flack, putting yourself in the position to be hated. You remind
No,
me.
I loved it. I still love it. I'm a narcissist.
I don't know if I believe that.
Oh no, really?
You don't. You.
Oh, I love it. I love all
If somebody
attention.
comes at you, you
Yeah.
like. So when this thing happened with, you know, Blake Lively,
I loved it. Oh my God, it was the best thing ever. I made a dancing video celebrating.
Come on.
Because I also naively thought it was going to be easy to handle it. It was not easy.
So take me through the process of you thinking through this. When that happens, are you like, oh, this is going to be great for publicity purposes for me?
Well, first, number one, the first consideration was, what's the worst that can happen here? The worst that can happen, worst case scenario is, oh, I have to reveal my sources. In the grand scheme of things, that would have sucked because I'm a journalist and that's protected, even if she attempted to get that. But it's not like I would be out. Well, if I would have had a lawyer help me, I would have been out by the end of it, because it was 3 months. 3 months of me fighting Blake Lively in 2 courts in 2 different states. Right. Easily would have been at least $75,000.
Right. And you have insurance through your business for lawsuits, but not
to fight
for
a subpoena,
which is basically just having a court appearance where you have to go.
Well, more than that, it was also all these filings, and it would have been a lot. Right. It would have been it was labor intensive for me. It would have been even more so for a law firm.
So you took it on and you start doing your whole Elle Woods thing, a reference to Legally Blonde. You're doing all your stuff. You're learning the law. You're trying to protect yourself. You go to court and you actually are defending yourself against 3 attorneys that are of
that first hearing was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life.
So at this point in your mind, it's like, okay, this is not great publicity. I'm scared. You know, like,
no, I knew it was still great publicity. It was, and I made sure to invite the press.
You did.
So that they were there.
I was visiting my grandmother in the hospital, but I would have been there. But yeah.
But you know, I think that I'm less crazy than I used to be, but I'm obviously still a little crazy because most people would not have handled it like I did. But I also, you know, I did get a lot of support, which I'm not used to. Like, during this whole process, I would see people saying, like, you know, I don't like him, but I dislike her more. Or I don't like him, but I'm supporting him here because this is the correct thing. You know, like, she's trying to get this and that's not right. And that also felt like fuel to keep me going forward.
And I think it's fascinating because we're in a time right now. Listen, you are a journalist. I don't know if somebody looked up the word journalist in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it's probably going to be Edward R. Murrow over you, but that term, it covers a lot of different types of people and a lot of different types of reporters and journalists.
I really know, and actually you might not think this, but I've learned so much about the law. Documentary filmmakers, are they a journalist or are they a filmmaker?
It's probably both, I would say.
The law says that they are journalists.
Yeah. But I think nowadays, of course.
And that was established in the courts.
Right. But I'm just saying nowadays, it's funny that we're finding you at this crossroad of all this cultural shift we're experiencing, where there are a lot of people that just have an Instagram handle and they go out and they do reporting.
They're journalists.
For a YouTube, and they're journalists.
Yeah.
You know, do they have a journalist institution that has a publication and all those types of things?
You don't need it. You don't need to be a member of a union. You don't need any of that.
And I think there's good and bad with that. I think most people, you know, me as a guy who went to journalism school and went to Northwestern and has that backing and that understanding and appreciation, I don't think we should not be protecting those
I did
people
take some journalism classes at NYU, but this is this funny story. I don't know how I was able to do this, but I've always been the one to... I don't know how I want to express this, but I went to NYU for acting.
Yeah.
And Tisch School of the Arts allowed me to take 2 journalism classes that counted towards my math requirements. I'm like, this can't be correct.
Wow.
I can get out of taking math class and take journalism instead. I'm going to take journalism.
Yeah.
Why? I'm interested in it. It'll be fun. And it was fabulous.
So I want to get back to the acting, but one last thing on this. So my issue with all of this is that I think it's hard to understand the nuance to a lot of these things. Of course, somebody who is just can classify themselves as a journalist, and that's fine. But there's a lot of people out there that really aren't bringing journalistic integrity to situations, and they're just trying to create tension and drama and get follows and likes. And there's a difference when you have your name, yourself on the line, you're collecting a paycheck. That's different.
But everybody's doing it for profit.
I guess so.
The New York Times is doing it for profit.
Yes.
It's not just altruism.
No, I know. But
I mean, perhaps maybe NPR, they're not doing it for profit. But
I just think
most
and I
everybody
don't
else,
have the answers.
It's about ratings. It's about clicks.
Right. And I don't have the answers. But I guess
it's a business too.
I still believe in my heart that when Candace Owens talks about an Israel-Palestine conflict and she's collecting sourcing, I just do not believe that it's going through the same.
No, she's a conspiracy theorist.
But I just don't think it's the same as the Wall Street Journal. It
Absolutely
can't be.
not. No.
So, but to me, I think the nuance of that is important to discuss.
But I'm not a fan of hers. And I don't think people view her as the New York Times.
I think people do.
No, I think people just enjoy her because they find her entertaining.
You don't
and I'll
think
give her that credit.
You don't think when people engage with her stuff, they're taking her word?
Some people, the ones that are conspiracy theorists themselves. I'm not. I like receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots. I like facts.
Right. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. All right, well, let's go to acting for a second, because the Sopranos episode that you're in, where Chris Moltisanti, Michael Imperioli, he robs a charity concert. You're the guy giving him the cash. It's actually fascinating because, first of all, Sopranos may be the greatest show of all time.
And it had so many actors that at the time were unknowns.
Yes.
Like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, really?
Lady Gaga and so many others.
So there's a lot of people in it. And I think it's fascinating because you're so you. And part of me, when I think about the fact that you actually had an opportunity at Tisch to study acting, which is one of the best places you can go, in The Sopranos, you really are not you. Your voice is different.
Well,
you have an actual, you didn't make yourself you didn't overdo yourself in that scene. You acted. I watched it again this morning just to revisit it, and I'm like, wow, you actually
had 2 lines. I remember them.
But you were very normal, and you acted normal for that situation. So you really probably could have had an acting career if you didn't do the blogging. Do you think you could have made it as an actor or no?
Probably not, because I was conditioned by my family I was fighting my expectations from my mother and my own expectations. Like, I moved to Los Angeles to be an actor, even though I studied in New York. But if I wanted to be, at the time, things are different now, and you can live anywhere now, and everything you don't have to go in anymore to audition. Now, most auditions are on tape, and then on Zoom is the callbacks.
Yeah.
But first auditions for everything are on tape. But in 2000, 2001, 2002, the early 2000s, everything was in person. And I mainly wanted to be doing film and television, mainly television. I just wanted to be a TV actor. Like, I wanted to be Sean Hayes. That was my goal. I want to be the next Sean Hayes. But I never wanted to be a bartender or a waiter or have any of those jobs. I always ended up getting normal jobs that were pretty flexible and would let me go out on auditions.
Right. And
I didn't do much acting, unfortunately. So I kind of gave up quickly, sadly. But I've been doing a lot of acting over the years, and I would love to do even more.
So the Sopranos thing just happened because you just auditioned?
Yeah.
You weren't like Perez Hilton at that?
No. I booked under my real name, yeah.
And who was at that casting call? Was it David Chase there? I mean...
No. For for bit parts.
I don't know.
Oh, he would have cast,
He had to
meaningful.
sign off on it, right?
I doubt it. Not
really?
not for small roles. I only had 2 lines.
So was he there that day, David Chase?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe. He probably was.
Yeah. Did you understand the gravity of this show that you were? I mean,
I like to be honest. Yes, but
no.
oh God, I don't know if I've ever said this before.
Say it. Come on.
Like at the time, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I had a little trailer with my name on the outside, and I remember the catering was amazing. They had great food, but I would have rather have done Sex in the City because I never watched The Sopranos. I watched Sex in the City.
Did you watch The Sopranos eventually? Please tell me.
Never.
Oh,
I mean, I've watched.
God,
I've never even seen my episode in full. I've just seen my clip.
That's such a.
I'm insane.
You gotta watch that. You gotta really do because it is a tremendous. But listen, Sex
and
and
also
the City
there's another
was huge
degree
at the time.
I was also in a movie around that same time with Jamie Lynn Sigler, who
Really?
played Meadow.
Yeah, of course.
And actually, there's a Vegas connection. Mark Chinook was in that movie too.
What movie is
It was
that?
called Campfire Stories.
Interesting. I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
So you were booking.
We gotta
things.
screen that next Halloween season at the Beverly. I'm serious.
All right, we'll get Kip Kelly. Kip Kelly, where you at? We'll get you on that. Kip.
Mark and I are in this scary movie together.
Meadow, Jamie Lynn.
A bunch of actors. John Hensley, who ended up being in Nip Tuck. He was in that. Carrie Butler, a very well-known Broadway actress. Okay. She was in Hairspray, and she's done a bunch of things.
My
John Day, I think, maybe.
Hairspray.
A bunch of people that ended up having careers were in that movie, Campfire Stories.
So I guess here's my big question I'm curious about. Why did you not end up getting that slot on like being one of the panelists on
tried.
The View? Why are you to me that would have been what should have happened.
Because I was too polarizing.
But look how polarizing it is now. I'm just curious. Do you think it was?
I think there were too many.
Did any agent or anybody ever come to you and say you should really be on this, show?
Well, I tried, every year, multiple times a year, I would work with a producer and we'd put together a pilot, and I'd, not filming, but, you prepare materials and you pitch it to the syndicators or the networks or both. And I would go out there every year. I partnered with Oprah's EP, and I couldn't sell a show. It's hard. It's hard selling.
But I was
shows.
just literally going to ask you Oprah, because Oprah did that for Dr. Oz. She did it for Dr. Phil.
I partnered with what's her freaking name? I don't know, but she was one of the longtime Oprah EPs.
And did you have an agent, or were you always taking all of this in-house and you never wanted to listen to other people?
No, I would have. I had agents at points.
But CAA, WME, high-level people?
Yeah. Not those agencies, but I don't even want to mention them, but a different one, one of the top 3.
Okay.
But it's the one that you didn't mention. Whatever, you'll be able to guess it now. UTA.
Yeah.
I did 2 stints with UTA, and I was like, whatever.
So why didn't that? You were too polarizing.
I was too polarizing.
Could you have toned it down, or you would have never done that to get more?
I wouldn't have back then. I would now, obviously.
Right.
I know how to play by the rules. Back then, I didn't care.
So
when you're young, here's the perfect example. During my It Girl era,
yes,
I was making crazy money.
And what can you tell me? Could you actually tell me?
Millions upon millions a year. A lot of money.
What does that mean? Does that mean over 3 or 4 or 5 million?
Yeah.
You were banking
$5
million a year,
yes.
say.
However, like I said, I wasted so much in legal fees and attorneys. And the biggest mistake I made, and it sucks to feel like you have regrets, but I have regrets. I have a lot of regrets.
No, it's good.
I'm so honest.
It's good to have
And actually, this is really important to share, because hopefully if I can just help one person. I went to school for acting. I didn't go to school for business. So I did the best that I could with the information that I had.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing this one mantra when I was younger about business, which is when you start making money, invest it back into your business. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. I was like, oh, we're growing. So let me hire a video department. Let me hire 2 videographers, and let me hire an editor. Let me hire more writers. Let me get a nice fancy office. I kept growing and growing and growing and investing it all back into the business. But that's the key word, all. I invested it all back into the business.
You should have maybe did a little in real estate.
Exactly. I should have saved half and invested half back in.
So you made...
That's why I don't have FU money in the bank now.
I like that.
I have to hustle so hard.
But here's the thing. It's so... I mean, think about how talented you are.
The biggest regret I have. Like, if I would have saved half, even a quarter, if I would have saved a quarter of what I was making annually...
I mean, so you made the most you ever made in a year was what?
I'm not gonna say that, but it was a lot.
Was it 10 mil?
I don't know, not that much, no.
But maybe a little less,
or more than 3, less than 10.
Dude, I mean, it's crazy.
I know
because it's.
I know,
but it's impressive because you really. I think you're the type of person you could have. Whatever way you chose, I think you would have been successful. That's how I believe.
Oh, I believe that also.
So I think like if you pursued the acting and you didn't do the I think it would have happened.
Absolutely.
I think you would have become a Sean Hayes. I do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Maybe it's possible. Anything is possible.
But I just think you chose a really you chose the hardest route and you still became, what you became.
Well, one of the other reasons that I'm still around 21 years later is that work ethic that I mentioned. And I might get criticism for this, but I don't care. Like, I still care. I still care. I still want to do a good job.
Well, I mean, it's evident. There's no reason. Like today, you were a little late because you were trying to get a post up about Dolly Parton.
I got it up. Thank God. I was like racing.
But I mean, the fact that you're still hustling to that magnitude is really an impressive thing. What is daily life like for you? I know you're a dad, and and we see that on your socials. But do people like when you just go to Starbucks or when you go to CVS to pick up a prescription? Do you really feel people looking at you to a different degree and recognizing you and bombarding you, or just even glaring at you? And
but I love it.
You love it.
I mean, I'm so grateful.
The anonymity issue of you don't care.
I'm grateful because for every one person that does come up, I know that there are others who hate me. So if somebody says something nice, I appreciate that.
You don't care that you're hated by some people.
I don't.
Do you read comments?
Because
people say...
Oh, I love hate comments. Genuinely.
How do you love them?
Because I look at it like currency, Mike. I'm sure you get hate comments and
I don't like them.
Oh, they're only a positive.
My producer knows. Like I think I got like 2
they're only a positive. Look at it this way. Here's why. What matters to me is engagement, views, clicks, all of the above. So if I post a picture of us here now, or if I just post a picture of myself and somebody on social media says, "Oh, you look so cute today," that comment is worth $1. But if somebody says, "Oh, you look hideous. Shave that beard. You're so fugly. You make me want to vomit," that comment's worth $20.
Why?
Because it'll do 2 things. It'll get me more engagement. The people who like me will then jump in and support me. And the people who hate me will gang up and agree with that person who left that awful comment. And at the end of the day, I'm just sitting back smiling because it only helps me get more reach for that post.
So tell me what you do if you're me, because I hate this. I don't like that that's where we're at. Like,
you can do 2 things. You can not read the comments, or you can turn off your comments.
Right, but I think turning off your comments is bad. That's not a good look.
No, it's not. It's not a bad look, but it definitely will affect your reach.
Is this a fun time to be living where we have this dissension and people having the ability to just because that's what I can't make the mental hurdle over, is that I just think that I know you to a degree. I know you're not the type of guy who is going to say something intentionally mean to somebody. I don't think
I used to be
you
that
did
person.
A little bit, but now that you've evolved, I think it's a little different, right?
Yeah.
And I do think nowadays, though, and there's something different. We'll talk about the Howard Stern stuff, too, because I was an intern there, and we didn't cross paths at that period of time. But you have a lot of Howard Stern, too, because he's evolved, too. And when he used to be that way... Yes, he made mistakes, but it was under the guise of he was a shock jock. It's a lot of what people...
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make it okay. Like, this is why I...
But you did the same thing. And
Yeah.
And you didn't think it was okay?
No, I knew it wasn't okay, and I didn't care. I was so selfish. All I cared about was me, the money I was making, the clicks, the page views that I was getting. I was aware, oh, this might hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
And I did it anyways. I didn't care. The intentionality is why I don't believe that in the eyes of many to most, I will be ever able to achieve redemption, because I can't claim ignorance. I can't claim youth. I wasn't even that young. I was in my late 20s. The best way to describe it, and it's not a BS thing, I was an attention addict. If you like attention, and you might not, but I love it, I was getting so much attention. And it was a drug, and a very powerful one. And I'm like, how can I get more? And then it became, I need to go bigger. I need to get wilder. I need to go crazier. I need to be meaner. And it became more toxic and nasty as the years went on, until it got to a point where I had to change, because I had become.
And you're getting rewarded for it and all that.
Well, that's also a fascinating thing, right? Holding up a mirror to society. Yeah. At my worst is when I did my best.
And we're still doing that as a society. It could be even worse. You're a father. You have kids.
Absolutely.
Don't you think it's dangerous, potentially, the way that, yes, there is a difference between you were doing these things, making these intentional choices, but it was a career move. You know, it wasn't. That's the thing that's different, is that Howard went through the
but that doesn't mean that it's absolved.
To me, no, but it is different than somebody who's nameless, faceless, and is saying the most hideous things on social media, because there is no benefit. They just can hide behind it, and the flack's not going to hit them. It's just, they can do it because it's not going to matter. So to me, we see that. And now the worst part is,
but actually,
Howard's doing that with the FCC. Now you got people on their own personal TikTok. They could be ruining their livelihoods and their future because they're doing pranks on somebody at a grocery store. And it's just, well, do you work for iHeartRadio? No, I have a TikTok.
Yeah.
So to explain it to me, this.
Well, a few things. First, and this might seem weird coming from me, I believe we should change the laws in this country. I think that you have to be at least 18 years old to use social media, and you need to provide a driver's license to verify your age.
I like that.
I don't believe social media, when you're in high school or below, you should not have your own social media account.
Do your kids, I mean, are they...
They don't have social media accounts.
When will they be able to? At 18?
Yeah, when they're 18. I mean, I'll let my kids watch YouTube videos, but they don't have YouTube accounts. They're on my socials. Like, I'm a normal parent. Like, you're normal.
Yeah.
You post photos and videos of your kids. Oh my.
But I'm sure they have peers at their schools that are on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, why can't I add you?
Especially my oldest, who's 12. He doesn't have it. No.
And he's okay with that, or he wants it?
Oh, he wants it. Like, especially like Roblox. Like, I don't even let him have Roblox, because I believe you can communicate with people on there. Like, and there are adults that none of that.
And if somebody says this is ironic because of who you are,
I should know more than anybody. I believe that 18 and plus social media. And then after having met that threshold, I'm going to be a fierce advocate of free speech. And I do believe that we've gone too far in censoring speech on social media. Or like even today, oh my God, this is the perfect example. Like, I've got to show you. It's the irony of this. Here we go. It sucks too, because everything is automated. Look, this is from today. Today at 9:06 a.m. Click on it, and then it'll.
ever removed your piece of content from Facebook?
I know.
Wow, sex life star Sarah Shahai, I don't know how to say her name.
That was a big show for a bit.
Finally weighs in on whether boyfriend Adam Demos' giant appendage is real.
They removed that on Facebook.
Wow.
Like I said, we've gone too far into censoring. Yeah. And also, if all of it is 18 plus, then all right. So this article about this actress talking about her boyfriend's fake D on the show about sex, who cares? Like, it's just so ridiculous that was taken down.
Let me ask you this. So what I'm curious about, because with GLAAD and working with Star and all these different Instinct. So when did you come out?
Oh gosh, I came out Christmas time, my freshman year of college.
Of college.
Yeah.
Now in high school, you knew. When did you?
Oh,
know?
I knew at 6.
You knew at 6. Was there a moment, or you just know?
I was playing with my neighbors, and I just like had feelings for my neighbor at 6.
Gotcha. So, and you knew that, and
but you don't really know that at 6.
No, it's just a feeling.
Yeah.
You're processing.
Yeah.
And then
but like remembering now, I'm like, I knew since 6. Like, I was born gay. And also this is controversial too. Like, if I could take a magic pill that would truly make me heterosexual, I would.
Yeah, I heard you say something about with your son.
Oh yeah.
You were like, you think he'll have a better life.
Yeah.
If he's not.
It's
gay.
harder being gay.
And why does the gay community does not, from what I've read and gathered through research, you're not the big people in the gay community don't love you. Why?
For many reasons. I mean, one, back when I was, a CNX Tuesday, I used to out people, which I don't do anymore.
And you really did.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah. Because you would get a source or a tip, and you would, because I'm not familiar with it, you would go on your website, your blog, and you would just say, XYZ is gay.
Or, oh God, or like even with like Neil Patrick Harris, I was like, if you ever hooked up with him, email me, like things like that. It was like almost like a witch hunt. Like I was miserable. I was a miserable person. But I'm done with my apology tour also. Like, I did a lot of super crappy things.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes big mistakes. People cheat on their spouses. People steal money from their siblings.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I made a lot of mistakes, but I feel like I have this scarlet P, my baggage is very public and very heavy, and the internet is forever. Oh, I'm digging up this receipt of something that you said or did in 2007.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's almost 20 years ago. But, that cliche expression, a first impression is a lasting impression. So, I know that a lot of people still only see me as that person that I used to be. And even though I'm not that person anymore, I don't live in that space.
Right.
They want to keep me in the past like it's a prison cell. And it's okay. I'm done with my apology tour. And now it's like, you know what? I made a lot of mistakes, but I also, I created something when it didn't exist before. Right. I was able to pave the way for so many people now, for an entire industry.
Right. No, it's really crazy. All the influencers and the types of people that you've really, you classified it as birthed, but you really did lead the way for so many types of influencers.
And then I'm still here. Like the shelf life of an influencer keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And though I may not be as popular as I used to be, I like to keep it real. I'm still known.
Yeah, because
I still matter.
Because you're Uber. You're the first one.
Well, thank you.
You can have a second, you can have a Lyft, but if you try to do the third or fourth or fifth, it's going to be harder to do that. So before you moved to Vegas and you're living in LA, was there kind of like a red beam on you where it was like, oh no, Perez Hilton's kind of like the restaurant critic who walks into the restaurant and there's a different shift in energy in the restaurant. Was that your life for a long time in LA?
Probably, yeah.
And you felt that? And you would just ignore it?
It's like, still to this day, I don't have too much time to sit and reflect because I'm too busy.
Right.
It's just about keeping one foot in front of the other, or like a shark, you just have to keep moving or you die.
And you have a different tone now. Your tone is totally different. It's more positive. It's more family friendly.
You can still be fun.
You're not critical so much.
Oh, I am critical.
Not the most. It's not like you used to be.
No. I used to be mean and nasty.
Yeah.
But there are people who believe that even if you have an opinion that's critical, you should keep it to yourself. And if you do share a critical opinion, that's bullying. No. Saying I don't like Mike Davis's new song,
Yeah.
that's not bullying.
No.
It's just I don't like your new song. That doesn't mean I don't like you or that you're a bad musician. It just means I don't like your new song.
So do you, as an influencer, do you feel pressure if you're invited somewhere in Vegas to a restaurant, to a show?
Well, Vegas
How
is a
does
whole
that
different
work?
beast.
So how do you handle Vegas? Because I think people are interested in that.
Oh, great question. I do not operate in Vegas how I used to in Los Angeles. And I learned quickly that Vegas has its own rules. And I don't want to be like anybody else.
Right.
I understand why all influencers do what they do. And there are a good amount who are hypercritical or are mean or are nasty because
Right.
that gets engagement, that gets views.
Right.
But Vegas is a small town and you don't want to be banned or blacklisted from places. Not for me, especially because I bet on Vegas. Like I see this city continuing to grow and continuing to attract talent, and eventually we'll get the studios
Right.
and film and TV will be happening here even more regularly. And it's important for me that publicists, business owners, the casinos, everybody views me as a friend and somebody that they can trust.
Right.
So if I do go and I have a negative experience somewhere, old me would have shared that. New me, okay, I just won't talk about it.
And do you think that your engagement and your connection with followers takes a hit because of that?
No. People like it. Everything is really just content piece by content piece. It's about the content. Like, yes, if I
Like, what do you think of a Vegas starfish? Like, what,
I love her. I think she's great, but I don't want to be her. She, like I understand why a lot of the properties are upset by things that she does, like taking the black light and this and that and the other. I want to be a friend, and I love Vegas.
Yeah.
I want to be a cheerleader for Vegas. So, having said that, it is still important for me to be authentic. So I'm not going to say I like something if I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like if I stayed somewhere or ate somewhere or saw something and I talk about it, it's because I liked it. Or if I didn't like it, I may I won't say what, but well, actually, you know what? I will say it because they've changed it and they've improved it. But 2 years ago, I went to see an early iteration of Awakening at the Wynn, and I did not like it.
I was there, yeah.
But I didn't want to trash it either. So I just shared some clips and I said, wow, it was like a really impressive stage. Like this stage is so impressive, which is true.
You found a genuine thing that you could remark in a positive way.
Yeah. But it was also a little shady because I just commented on the stage.
Right.
And I just recently went to see Awakening and they made a lot of changes to it.
Yeah.
And it's much better. It had all these elements that I wish it would have had in the beginning. So,
right. So it's so interesting to me because you could almost be the coach, right? Like if somebody, you could almost start a side business. Now that there's so many people that want to be influencers,
I do that.
You could coach somebody.
I do all the time. Just
personal training, basically.
I give feedback to musicians that reach out to me.
No, but I'm saying
and
somebody
influencers
who really wanted to be an influencer, how would you coach that person in today's age? I don't think you would coach that person to just say the stage is good, would you? Because you probably knowing how to generate engagement.
If you don't want to burn a bridge, then you say the stage is good. If you're not worried about burning bridges, then say whatever the hell you want. But I didn't want to burn that bridge.
Right.
I'm older, wiser. I have made some mistakes in Vegas and, for example,
what's the biggest one you've made? I'm not privy to any mistakes you've really made from a Vegas standpoint.
That's the thing. People are very sensitive here.
Just, I'm curious.
Or I won't say the specifics, but a year or two ago, I was sharing a lot of news on my Las Vegas Perez Instagram account. Now I just share only content that I make.
So, yeah.
So
I remember this.
Like a year ago or a year and a half ago, I shared this one story that I thought was newsworthy. And I got a text saying, take it down. And I was like, well, it's newsworthy. I didn't even say anything. I didn't even share my opinion. But I took it down because I didn't want to burn that bridge. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Some people might think I don't have integrity. Like, I have integrity. I also have and want to maintain and get even more relationships. Vegas is all about relationships because it's such a small town.
Right.
Like, there are so many influencers here now, actually. It's like, there's too many. I follow too many. There's literally hundreds of Vegas influencers. There's just a few that maybe get the most attention, but
how much do you think, like a Vegas Starfish, are those followers legit? The million? I think
so.
You think? Can you discern stuff like that or no?
No, because the algorithm has changed so much. Like like I said, it's all about the content. And one video on any of the platforms could get you hundreds of thousands of followers. If you have a video that blows up and gets you millions of views, all right, follows. But back in the day, the more followers you had, the more views you would be guaranteed to get.
It's not like that anymore.
Not like that anymore. The algorithm doesn't care about how many followers you have. In fact, the platforms won't even service your content to all your followers unless the algorithm determines, oh, this is going to be of interest. If they somehow deem your video to be boring, they won't even serve it to your followers. It's wild.
It's pretty crazy. So who would you say are you most impressed by as a Vegas influencer, and who are you the least impressed by?
I love this local influencer named Jules Kim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just love her content.
I think I know her.
It's Jules Kim or Jules Kim. If you type in JULZKIMM, maybe, okay. I think that's her.
And why is she great to you?
I could just tell how much work she puts into her videos. And I love the variety of them. Some are voiceovers, some are talking directly on camera to the audience. She's got captions, the editing. Like, I don't have that much time to spend on one video.
So you're impressed with her production, the effort.
And also her personality, and she's smart.
And who's somebody big that you just do not get why people are into this person? This is the longest pause we've had on Dry Heat.
It sucks because I do like him.
Say it. Just say it.
It might surprise you. You might think I'm going to say somebody else, but oh God, I like him.
Yeah, but
overall.
Yeah, I think it's a good lesson.
Unlocked.
Oh, Drew.
Yeah.
Really?
What's interesting is he's got great personality.
Yeah.
But I don't get enough of his personality. I get more of his personality on his Instagram stories than I do on his videos. His videos, I feel like most of them are ads, or they feel like paid ads, and that's fine. I get it. Everybody's got to make money, and he's promoting his business. And actually, that's one of the not so big secrets about so many of these influencers. They have marketing companies that they own, and they create content for local businesses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Vegas Starfish has all of these that she's partnered with.
Yeah. Unlocked does have Paul Ryu. Everybody's got the thing. Yeah.
But like Drew and Unlocked, like.
See, I'm surprised you said. I thought you were gonna say like Vegas Pauly.
Oh no, I totally get why he's popular.
You get him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He. It's like people love drama. I get it.
Yeah. And have you crossed paths with him?
Never met him.
You've never been in the same room with him?
No.
Wow.
But I understand.
He talks about you a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah. I have nothing negative to say about him. Like, he's like a bit of old school Perez.
Right.
But like, but back when I was crazier, it's like he does things now. Like, I know why he does the things that he does, But Vegas is not Los Angeles. That's the thing. It's like Vegas is too much of a small town, and people will leave this one company, this one PR agency, this one resort, and go work at another PR agency.
Yeah, no, it's it's incestuous, but it's crazy because I've met him, and that's why I don't know anything anymore. I used to think I knew a lot about stuff, and I've been in intern roles. I've met a lot of people, interviewed a lot of people. I don't know anything anymore. I really don't, because I met Vegas Pauly C and I thought he was very normal. Yeah. You know? And then I see certain things he does, and it is performative. I mean, it seems very.
But the problem is, you know, it limits you also, because I don't know if you've been paying attention, but a lot of his content now is promoting his girlfriend.
I saw that a little bit.
Promoting his girlfriend, who's like a VIP host.
Oh, so, is she?
Yeah. Okay. So like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if in a few years' time he might. Here's me starting drama. You know, like, he's not making as much money as some of the popular influencers because of how he's been doing things for the last few years, which is why now he's like, oh, I got to build my girlfriend up and send her business because I'll make money. I'll make a cut of that and all of this stuff.
But so what's
it? Wouldn't shock me if he ends up being like a high class pimp for hookers, or if he starts selling drugs. I'm not saying he's doing that.
Wow.
But it wouldn't shock me if in a few years that's a lawsuit that pops up.
I don't know about that, but I'm saying
I don't either. I'm not saying he's doing that.
The playbook that I continually see is boosting up your social, and then Pauly C would have the taco shop. Or Drew,
but that went out of business.
Right. But I'm saying, or Drew has, you know, the ice cream place, which is actually tremendous. And
yes,
he has, you know, I think a burger place. So I see how people are starting to, you know, it's kind of like how years ago you said, I wish I didn't invest everything back in the business. People are saying, okay, I hit a spark with this social thing.
That's so smart.
Let me put this into business.
I would love to have a restaurant in Vegas.
What would it be like?
A Cuban restaurant.
That would be a good idea.
That's my dream.
Is that real?
I've tried. I've had meetings, but it's hard. But Vegas, what I love about Vegas is, like I said, it's about relationships. So the longer I stay, the more relationships, you know, and it's not, well, I wouldn't say it's transactional, but it's like relationships in that people need to be able to trust you. Yeah. People need to be able to know that you're normal.
Yeah.
Some people might say Vegas Pauly C is not normal. That you're normal, that you're not going to implode, that you're not going to betray anybody. You know, like, I'm a person of my word. I've never gone and given a incendiary review of a restaurant that I was invited to or of anything. So, and I love that Vegas, I believe in Vegas, and I actually believe that Vegas is the American dream. Meaning you can move to Vegas if you just graduated high school without a college degree. And if you're somebody who is hardworking, hard work still pays off in Vegas. And you can work your way up. And it's harder to do that and have the American dream in other cities.
Yeah, I think we definitely align on that, because I've worked and lived in a lot of places. New York, Chicago, Miami, Texas. I'm from New Jersey, Philadelphia area. I've been and worked in so many of these different places. You can't just start a restaurant in, you know, like the red tape and just the...
Yeah, Vegas is very business friendly also.
It is, you know, and you can't just generate a name. Even for myself, I've been in Vegas 6 years. I think in a lot of other markets, I probably wouldn't have gotten to the ability where I could have a lot of the freedom and do the things that I am lucky enough to do here.
Yeah,
and I think Vegas has a lot of that. So what's your prediction for Vegas in the coming, as a cheerleader, self-proclaimed cheerleader of Vegas? And I do think you're true to your word on that. Your social is positive for Vegas. You're always highlighting the great from a family-friendly perspective too, which is great. What is the future of Vegas?
I think the future is back to our roots. You know, Vegas used to be the place that had, it was the budget destination. Like, it's become where the expensive is the norm. when you go to one of the budget properties, which we know which ones they are, I don't need to mention them, but when you go to one of the budget hotels and the food court is so expensive, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Like Vegas used to be about like $1 shrimp cocktails and an affordable steak and eggs meal and all of those things. So I think Vegas is in the process. It's tough because it's all about the bottom line and people don't want to give free parking to everybody. Everybody, not even just Nevada locals. Free parking for everybody. You know, this, that, you know, bring back affordable buffets or whatever it is. Like Vegas needs to be affordable. And then the ultra expensive premium fancy properties, which we know that what those are, those can stay for the people who have that money and want that.
Yeah. So that's the big change that has to happen. Okay, as we're wrapping all this kind of stuff up, I just want to get your take on, you know, this whole Baldoni Lively thing, because as I was reading and researching all this, you know, you actually were on Lively's side initially as all of this started trickling out, you know, and then as more and more came, you know, through with facts and different things and reports and articles and all that stuff, you kind of switched sides. Why did the American public, I mean, you've been involved in so many stories, so many, you know, pop culture things. What is it about this feud that really generated so much interest before you even got into it? Because
I got into it at the very beginning, actually. I started covering it in August of 2024. So before the lawsuits, I was covering it a lot for many reasons. Like one, Blake Lively is my core demo. She is 37, 38. Like that's my woman. That's my reader. Like my audience is around her age.
So somebody who grew up watching Gossip Girl, like followed her career, is invested in her. Now,
and also the Taylor Swift of it all as well. And she's
being a friend and all that.
She's my number one for the last many years. Like I talk about Taylor Swift more than I talk about anyone.
Because when you look at the analytics of your website and your blog and all that stuff,
she's just the biggest.
Whenever you do something Taylor Swift, I saw you did something with the Kelsey brothers and them, you know, talking about their, you know, friendship with Blake a little bit and saying something positive. When you post something like that, as opposed to Dolly Parton's sister making a false claim that she might be in bad health.
It's crazy. I see the numbers. It's like, but I'll still cover Dolly because I love her.
Right, but the Taylor Swift stuff is it's insanity. So before this all happened, Blake Lively, did people like her or did people not like her? Okay.
Well,
because
I liked her enough. Like I wouldn't say I was a fan. I never really saw her acting, so I wasn't familiar with her in that capacity. She just had the reputation of being a fashionista for me and being Taylor's bestie and married to Ryan Reynolds.
So there wasn't there wasn't an outpouring of hatred or dislike for a Blake Lively figure. Nobody was that high on her, that low on her.
Yeah, I would say
it was
that's
just kind of in there. Okay. So then It Ends With Us is a movie, a romantic comedy based on a book, comes out. I watched it. It's not good, you know. So it's not a great film. The acting's really not fascinating or anything.
But it was successful.
But it was successful. No,
because that's actually the Vegas model that we talked about. That needs to be the showbiz model, especially because the movie industry is dying. People aren't going to the movies as much as they used to.
And it was successful because I'm not.
It was successful because
before the feud, right? Or no?
Well, no. After the feud erupted, right around the time of the release.
Which,
so in a way, it helped it. Yeah.
Right. So to me, why wouldn't this be almost planted and like a good thing? That
it definitely wasn't. You know, they ended up suing each other over it. But it was successful because they made the movie on a moderate budget, moderate for
had
showbiz.
A built-in audience from the book. Colleen Hoover or whatever wrote it. So now Baldoni's acting alongside Blake Lively, their romantic interest in the film. He's also directing the film. And then once all this starts coming out, tell us how this all shifted, and you start from one side, you go to the other side, and how you find yourself in the mess this early.
Well, I believed her when I read her lawsuit because I thought, wow, you know, this isn't according to sources. This is not something that I read in the newspaper. This is a complaint in a court of law. And if she's asserting all of these things, she's going to need to prove it in court. And she must have people that are going to back her up, witnesses that saw this or that. But then I read his complaint, and she totally, based on what I read and had my understanding of what he said, she misrepresented everything. Like, she said that during the birthing scene, she was naked. According to Baldoni, she was not naked. She had on a fake belly. She had on bike shorts, or like these short black shorts. But she said in her complaint that she was. So like, there were so many instances of, oh my God, she was caught in that lie. She allegedly caught in that lie. Or it seems like she got caught in all these lies. And also taking a step back, and, you know, I lived in Los Angeles for 20 years. I had my friends, my real friends, my non-famous friends, worked at all the studios. They worked in show business. I know how things work. What she ended up doing in that movie is unheard of. She was given a producer credit as a vanity title. It's just, you know, it happens all the time. Oh, we'll make you a producer on this. And they don't do anything. They don't actually produce anything. It's just another opportunity to stroke their ego, and in some cases, make them a lot more money in the back end by adding them as a producer also. But she ended up taking control of the wardrobe. She ended up taking control of the editing of the film. That's unheard of. Insane. And then when I saw all of the emails from the film's distributor, Sony, and seeing all of the text messages and everything, it's like, whoa, I got this so wrong. So I can acknowledge when I'm wrong, and I felt like I got it wrong. I initially believed her, and I'm like, no, that's not what happened, I think.
So why now? Why did all this stuff with her? I mean, she's had a long career. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. She's done a lot of stuff. Like, why all of a sudden would we have never heard? Today, a huge article just came out about Kevin Costner.
I saw that.
You know,
Hollywood Reporter. Woo!
Right, like a huge article about how he really isn't the easiest to work with, and he's a difficult guy.
Yeah.
That's fascinating that it came out at this juncture, but we've heard for a little bit now, you know, him dying off in Yellowstone prematurely. There's been things.
Yeah.
Nothing like that really seemed to be part of the MO for Blake Lively. And now on this Justin Baldoni production, things seem weird. So to me, as I'm adding things up in my head, and I think there's a lot of difficult things to undress, maybe it was a weird set. Maybe it was maybe there are things that are strange there that you can't put into words that are maybe not awful, but are just uncomfortable, and she took it to the next level. Maybe that's, but I don't know. That's maybe, I'm trying to figure, I have no clue on who's in the right, who's in the wrong here. It's hard to tell. So where, and why do you think she's such an aggressor now with this, all the stuff that came out in Discovery, and I don't even know the other people that were named in it, but you were just one of the few.
One of over 107. It's crazy. 107
So why
journalists.
did they go on the offensive so much, knowing PR, knowing all these things? It can't turn out good for her. And now that we've seen, the narrative around her really changed.
Ego. You know, sometimes you dig your heels in
a bad battle
too far. It's like, oh, all right, I'm just too dug in now, right? It's like, instead of asking for help and climbing out of a hole that you created, I feel like she's trying to dig through and out instead of just directly up, which is the easier way. But I think, you know, she really was betting big on this picture. She thought, oh, this is the picture that's going to elevate me to A-list actress. She was not
this movie?
I think so, because it had the built-in audience. That Colleen Hoover.
No, she's a big, big author.
Huge author.
But still, this is not, you know, Goodfellas or, you know, the Notebook or Titanic.
If she took authorship of it, that's her word. I think she really, and also she saw her husband do the same thing. That's the real tea. On the set of the first Deadpool movie, Ryan Reynolds and the director clashed so much because he did a lot, according to, you know, Hollywood insiders. He did a lot, like rewriting the script. And
but let's be real here. Ryan Reynolds, the amount of talent Ryan Reynolds has compared to Justin Baldoni is ginormous. It's not.
But that's not the point.
Amount
The
of
point,
talent Ryan Reynolds has in his index finger is
but that's
so
not the
much
point.
different.
The point is Ryan Reynolds was not the director of that first Deadpool movie.
Yeah, but he was right. He did the right bet. He pushed for it to be more R. He pushed for it to be true more to the comics. And it was a major payoff. And he's right.
His wife saw him do that, and she thought, well, my husband was able to get away with this or do this. I'm going to do the same thing. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for her. And the director of that first Deadpool movie, I think his name was Tim Miller, he ended up not coming back for the sequel or any of the other films.
No, he didn't do.
Which is very unusual. If you're the visionary behind a hugely successful movie, you're going to come back for the sequels like James Gunn has or all of the other big directors. But because he and Ryan Reynolds clashed so much, he didn't go back for the sequels.
There's hits, there's misses, but he has proven, Ryan Reynolds, to have his finger on the pulse and understand. He has a tremendous comedic timing. He's a very good actor. And it's like it paid off big. And he really spawned a whole new, type of superhero film, I feel, in a lot of ways. But you think...
But then he even did that on the set of his wife's movie, rewriting the script for It Ends With Us, part of it. Yeah, and that became a whole big to-do. Like, why is Ryan Reynolds rewriting the script that was written by a woman? And Blake Lively had to end up apologizing to the screenwriter, and it was craziness.
So it's one of those things where basically there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of players. Where do we stand today? What is going to be the ultimate? Where do you fit in now? What could still happen to you? And what is ultimately going to happen when we look back on this years later? Is Justin Baldoni going to become the person that we all know and love? Is Blake Lively going to be the person that we're all super fond of? What's going to be the fallout?
I still think that they're both going to settle. And I think that ultimately this has only helped both of them. In a weird way, it's made Blake Lively more famous. And it's also made Justin Baldoni more famous. The masses, there were people who knew him before this drama, but the general...
nobody knew. I had no clue who this guy was.
Yeah,
what was he on Ugly Betty or something?
Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin, okay. Yeah. So, I had no clue who this dude is.
So I think...
a good-looking guy. I'm sure it's not that he's not talented. He directed and acted in a film that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how this guy's become a name now. So what's going to...
I think they're going to settle, and the settlement will come with strings, obviously.
To me, it happened, It Ends With Us too, is what you would do. That would be a movie I would pay to see. If they did, It Ends With Us too, and they're both, that's something I would see.
I don't know I actually have not watched It Ends With Us.
I forget what somebody might die or something, so I don't know if they even can do that. But that's what they should do, because that wouldn't be the movie I would go see. So what about you now? Are you free and clear?
I'm just reporting it now, thankfully. Yeah, the ACLU of Nevada thankfully came on board after 3 months. I was put in touch with them by this lawyer here in Vegas who works pro bono with children, Dawn Toman. So shout out to Dawn. She just reached out on my behalf, and the day they agreed to represent me and they called Blake Lively's lawyers, they instantly said, okay, we're withdrawing the subpoena. She did not want to take on the ACLU.
Right. It's not good from optics. It's probably not good for a lot of reasons. So as we're wrapping all this up, we've learned a lot about you. We learned about how you came to name yourself Perez Hilton. We learned when you first came out. We learned a lot of things. We learned about how important free speech is to you, protecting a journalist's sourcing through Nevada Shield law, all these types of things. What's one last thing? We even learned that you love Jules Kim.
Yeah,
and you don't love Unlocked.
No, I do. No. You're misrepresenting.
Okay. You said who not the best. I said
no. You said who doesn't deserve all of the hype or views.
Yes. Okay.
I enjoy his content. I just don't think it's that special.
You think he should show more of his personality?
Yeah.
He has more of that in his stories than he has in his posts. So, okay, that's the proper way to say it.
Yes.
And then if we are wrapping all this up, what is one last few things you want to say? What else do we need to know?
I just love Las Vegas.
Yes.
I'm so grateful to live here, and I wish I would have moved sooner.
Yeah.
I almost did. I was here in 2018 when I did Chippendales, and I looked at homes to buy. But, when I was younger and didn't care about money, I would have done things differently. But in 2018, I was already a father of 3. So I had done my research, and I was going to get a house here and live in it part-time, but also rent it out as an Airbnb. And I found out that was illegal. Old me would have done it anyways. But by 2018, I was like,
right.
I'll be ratted out by the neighbors, and then I'll just have a house sitting there. Right. And, that doesn't make sense to be paying a mortgage for a house that I only use 2 or 3 months a year, and I can't rent it out. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So I didn't buy it, but it sucks because that home in 2018 was so cheap. It was like a 6-bedroom. That was the last good year to buy a home in Vegas. Well, also during the pandemic, things I think were
things were good during the pandemic. But I don't even want to know what house would be now.
Now it would be a lot more.
Oh my God.
But what else do I want to say? I don't know. Check out my podcast, the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker.
We love Chris.
On all platforms or directly at perezpodcast.com. I do a daily live YouTube show on my @Perez Hilton channel.
Yeah.
And if you're a business, let's collaborate. Email me, bookings@perezhilton.com. And I'm just still chasing the fun.
You're chasing the fun.
And making the fun.
And riding the wave.
Yes.
Riding the wave, as we learned at the beginning of this. The great, the legendary, the one, the only. You know his voice right when you hear it. I know everybody here in the halls perked up when they saw and heard that iconic voice. It's Perez Hilton, the OG influencer, the first to ever do it. But if there was no you, we don't even know who we would not have as an influencer in our world. So thank you so much for being the first, and thanks for spending so much time with us here on Dry Heat.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.